Right, it's Tuesday the 24th, and this is the third in a series where I'm looking at a temporary detour that's been set up alongside the Mitchell Freeway in Leederville on the principal shared path for some resurfacing works that are coming up. Now, I've already done 2 reviews of the signage through here. Today we're going to have a look at it now that it's open. Now that sign, that variable message sign, is still invisible behind that tree there until the last moment coming from that direction. Now I did suggest they move that sign onto the other side of the tree. Alternatively, sometimes I've travelled with a pair of secateurs in my panniers. Just get out and trim the branches of that tree off, and that'll fix it. Now, I do know that the main roads travel map has been updated. I had a look at it last night after I read a comment saying that the detour was in operation from Monday morning. So that has been done. That's good. So let's see where we get detoured around the corner here onto that bridge. Now, interestingly, right. Now, the way I read that sign is it's telling me to turn there or to go up ahead and turn, because that sign is not at the actual turning point itself. Now, I was kind of fixated on looking at the sign. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go up and have a look at the PSP closure and see how they've handled that. But I'm looking at that sign because it's blinking and it's flashing and it's bright and all that kind of thing. And of course, because I'm looking at it, I rode straight past the metal sign telling me I was supposed to turn left, which, look, I knew the sign was there. I looked at it the other day, but because that sign was flashing and it was further on past the actual turning point, I was like, oh, is there another track down here or another path, a safer path that they want me to use? Because the path I think we do have to use is pretty dodgy. It's the first thing I think of. Have they worked out? It's a dodgy little bit of asphalt that's crumbling and pretty unpleasant, all that kind of stuff. So therefore, we need to use a different path. No. So that's why you need to send someone through who knows nothing about the signage layouts or where the detour goes, and have them test it for stuff like that, because people are going to evaluate the sort of information differently, and what it might make sense to some people but not others. All right, this one, detour city path, PSP closed ahead, and then there's an arrow pointing me onto the freeway. Okay. I'm really not sure what that message is trying to tell me, because there's a fence there, and then there's a safety barrier, and then there's a freeway, and I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to be going down the freeway. Okay, lots of good signage here. Footpath closed, prepare to stop. PSP closed ahead. Yep, all good. Slow down. Yep. Path closed, detour. All right. Nice big 3-part sign, clearly visible. Footpath closed, good. They've got a map up on the fence, that's all good. The only thing I'll do here to make that fence more visible at night is put hessian on it. You'd be amazed at how invisible fences like that can be at night. And I'm looking at the lighting around here. There's a light here, I don't know how strong it is. There's lots of trees that haven't been trimmed. That's it, that's nice to have. But we have seen examples in the last year of cyclists riding on a path, and there's been a gate across the path, and they have ridden straight into it and injured themselves. So for that reason, I'll just go and get a nice big roll of hessian, cable tied onto that fence, and then it just makes it a lot more visible in low light. Okay, I know where we are. I have used this detour before. Now, I know At this point, I'm supposed to be turning right. But there's nothing here to tell me to turn right. Now, is there in fact a sign behind that car? Nope. Did I miss a sign up on a pole? So I'm looking at the poles up there, looking at that pole. Let's double check. No, there's nothing. But there's a blue sign there saying Perth City, but there's nothing here to tell me where the detour is going. So I'd be slapping a bit more signage in at that point, and I'd be clipping in properly as well. And there's nothing here to tell me to go straight ahead on the footpath. I'm not seeing anything. Am I in fact in the right place for the detour? Because there's nothing here to suggest that I am, all right? Now there's a cyclist over there who's actually on the detour route, going around Lake Munga, but there's zero signage here on any of these poles telling me how to get across that set of lights and back onto the path at kind of around Oxford Street in Leederville. So did I just blow it completely? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go back to that overbridge across the freeway and use that detour. Maybe they thought they don't need to, put detour signage down here because maybe this is only used by locals, but given that I was able to come down here and use this as a detour, it makes sense just to finish it off. All right, they've got the work site over there, caravan, bunch of utes, that kind of thing. So that's resurfacing headquarters. Okay. Is this where I blew it? Path closed, detour, turn around. Right, so they want me to go back that way, the way I came. I'm scratching my head over that one. So, look, if somehow you missed the turn off up here and you're confused about where to turn at this overbridge like I was, and you kept on going, you'd end up down there, and this is a perfectly acceptable way to go, because you can then just cross over at the lights and you're back on the path. It's a bit of a no-brainer. I don't know, maybe they're discouraging people from doing that. Who knows? But just a little philosophical thing. I know I'm being very picky about this, and I understand that projects like this have got all sorts of constraints. There's time, budget, topography, terrain, politics, councils, all that kind of stuff. And so, I'm coming up with what I see as problems and possible solutions, but I also understand that a lot of these possibly can't be implemented because of those constraints. And there's stuff that's nice to have, and then there's stuff which is a really urgent, apparent safety hazard. And I did pick up one of those on the at Bayswater, for instance, where they'd left this big lump of concrete in the middle of the path that would be very easy to cyclists to just crash into. That kind of stuff has to be fixed immediately, or you're going off to work safe. But what I would hope people on this project would get out of this, or main roads, is go, there's actually some good ideas here. We can't implement them in this project, but we can do it in future projects. Let's update our standards, or our templates, or our policies, our design guides, and just these little incremental improvements that we can put in place for the next project. So I just missed the turn off, I was talking too much. So the next project is better than this project, because what you want is a constantly improving level of quality. Okay, right, so the sign here is down low, and I know it might sound a bit weird, but because of the black fence limits your visibility of that sign till the last minute, and if you're distracted by the big bright flashing thing, like I was, like bright lights, It's easy to miss that turn sign, the metal sign I'm talking about, because of the fence and all the rest of it. Okay, so at this point, good, we've been sent up over there. The issue I've got with this is as you're coming towards this, your obvious thing would probably be just keep riding out here or ride down to my right. They need a, just off to the left here, like a U-turn sign telling you to get onto the bridge, or do some pavement markings. You know, one thing that was very effective at the Borloo Bridge, where you got off the existing asphalt shared path onto this new concrete path off to the right that they laid as a detour route, they actually put some line markings down, that kind of plasticized tape or whatever it is, and it just drew the eye, telling you to bear right. So something like that there, even with some arrows on it or something, chevrons, just to tell, you know, you're looking down and it's telling you, right, you're turning left here. That kind of stuff would be helpful. So we come off here. Now from here, the sign I need to look at is hidden behind the map sign. So obviously it becomes visible when you reach a certain point, it pops out. But if you're kind of uncertain there and you're looking, you know, left and right for you know, kids on bikes and dogs and stuff like that, and joggers, you might miss that sign telling you to go straight ahead. It's just a what do you call it? One of those unfortunate things of you put up a whole bunch of signs and some signs get in the way of other signs. You just can't win, can you? But hopefully something like that is pretty easy to fix by just moving stuff around a bit. But you know, again, this just comes down to testing. You wouldn't pick that up if you're doing this on a you know, on a map, and you're going, well, we need to have a sign here at the exit from the overbridge. Yep, okay, plonk it down on the map. Yep, that looks like a sensible place to put it. And you don't realise until you actually get on site that there's other stuff in front of it obstructing it. And you don't actually realise it's obstructing it until you get on a bike and ride off the bridge and go, where's the sign? Oh, there it is. It's hiding behind that other sign. So just needs to be checked now. Coming up, I know I have to turn left. Now, that turn left sign, I've got two issues with it. The first is it's on the far side of the turn, and you're not seeing it until kind of the last moment. There's a spindly tree which isn't really obstructing it, it is slightly. You don't see it until, I'm not going to say last minute, but close to last minute. It'll be useful to have something as you approach here saying left turn ahead. And again, even get that plasticized stuff out or a bit of line marking tape and just mark an arrow saying, you know, PSP cyclist or something, you're going this way. Again, you know, just small things, but, you know, be interesting if anyone set up a trail cam on that particular corner and then looked at how many people on day one just went zooming past that intersection, and then you hear this and then they turn around and come back. Should have gone and looked for some rubber tyre marks, see if people are slamming on the brakes. Right, lots of signage along here. I think some of these signs could have been, you know, if you've got a fixed number of signs and you've got to work out where to put them, I wouldn't have put so many along here. My take on it is when you get to a sign, you should see the next sign at that point, and that tells you you're heading in the right direction. With these signs, you can sometimes see 3 or 4 at the same time, which says to me there's too many, and then there's none. Now, coming up here, I've got drivers who want to turn left in this slip lane coming up behind me. And do they realise there's a crosswalk? And just gives me the heebie-jeebies, that does. Okay, it's all nice and clear through here, which is good. Of course, the other thing they could do for a project like this is just get rid of the call buttons entirely and have the signals people program that to go green automatically without, someone having to press the thing. It's terrible design having that pole in the middle of the path. Again, just a general comment. And here we are. Whoops. Make sure to turn right and not go screaming off into that something or other. All right. Now to do part 2, going in the other direction.